ahead of Arkansas. And then 12 points back is Georgia A&M, 2 points back from there in fourth. Very, very spirited battle between LSU and Arkansas, just as we expected. Here are the records for the women's 3,000 meters. Carissa Schweitzer is all over that record graphic. Whitney Orton of BYU with the best time in the country this year.
And Carissa Schweitzer's name is all over everybody's book right now after breaking the American record the other night in Boston, as this field gets called back.
There may have been a timing snafu of some kind. Or did someone fall down?
There's a little bit of pushing and shoving and some carnage right there by the Ole Miss runner in the middle of that pack, and man, that's dangerous. So yes, anything that starts at the race like that, they will call it back.
In the first 100 meters, if someone goes down, they bring it back.
She's got a little road rash on her right shoulder. That looks familiar.
Yeah. It probably doesn't hurt too much now, but wait till tomorrow.
Yes, it's unfortunately I experienced the same thing about a week ago, and I couldn't lift my arm the next day.
That's what you get for riding your bike in the rain.
Fierce like that.
56 entries in this first section of the 3,000. That's why those kinds of things happen. And we'll watch closely to see that we don't have a repeat of that. But you know, that's just an awful lot of runners on a 200-meter bank track.
It really is. However, what it does is it gives a lot of these athletes that have come off of cross, that aren't in the seeded section, and have trained all season long to get this championship type feeling. And that is really important, especially if you come in the new freshman class that we've talked about, and even just being a sophomore, being able to level up and get into that race pace type mentality at a SEC championship or an NCAA championship. So now everything that these athletes have done up to this point as far as their training gets to go to work.
All right, we've got them established. Nobody has fallen down in the first 100 meters, so let's step away and we'll reprise the women's pentathlon.
In the women's pentathlon, 2018 SEC Outdoor Heptat first event that gave her 1,013 points, and this was her second attempt in the high jump, and check this out. Woo, really clean, over 6'1¼ That was a personal best. Actually puts her third in the individual SEC high jump. Really good points going into 2 events. And then the shot put, you only get 3 attempts in the multi-events. This was her third. Launches it out to 42 feet 9 3/4 That gives her another 731 points. She's got a good one rolling through 3 events, and she's a really good long jumper. So mentally, she can come in. She knows she's got great score. Speed, and wow, look at that takeoff. 20 feet 7 inches, good for 934 points. Really good 4 events. However, she's not known for her 800. Going into the 800, she had a personal best of 2:34 and some change, and she knew she had to gut it out. She did exactly that. 2:32.76, a big personal best for her. 6:59. She's got a new personal record at 43.91, a Trinidad and Tobago national record, a new school record, the first time an Aggie wins a pentathlon, and she leads the nation in the pentathlon. Tyra Gittens wins, Anna Hall is second, and Ghana Edwards is third. Staying in the field, really big shoes to fill in the women's long jump, with Keturah Orji and Giannis David being gone, and this was Mercy Abayer, the senior from LSU, her second attempt down the runway. Gets herself out to 20 feet 11 3/4. She was 4th at this meet last year from Nigeria. She moves up a spot this year and gets 3rd. And Jasmine Moore, the freshman from Georgia, more field events for Petros Kyprianou. 6th attempt, this moved her from 5th to 2nd, 21.1 1/4. Moore, the 2019 Gatorade National Girls Track and Field Athlete of the Year. She will be big for Georgia in the future. However, the day belonged to Deborah Aqua, the junior from Texas A&M, her third trip down the runway. Watch this takeoff. Nice, launches her really nice hips and hip lift off of that. 21 feet 2 inches, that puts her number 2 in the country right now. She's also the Ghana national record holder. She was second at this meet last year and says, nope, I'm gonna win it this year. Jasmine Moore second and Mercy Abayer third from LSU.
In the men's shot put, it was a little bit of an upset coming in. Josh Sabota was the conference leader. He can only manage third place. Connor Bendel was second with a personal best throw, and Joseph Maxwell took away the title for Tennessee.
You know, just to follow up a little bit on Tyra Gittens, not only did she win the pentathlon, she finished third in the open long jump and third in the open high jump as well.
How about this, though, for Gittens as well? Speaking of that women's long jump, one of the things you really need to be in field events is consistent. Yesterday, she jumped 20 feet 7, 3 different times.
And we're going to switch quickly over to the pole vault. Fixon of Georgia with the bar now at 14.9.5. She already has 2 misses. And this women's pole vault has really surprised us. We were not expecting these kinds of heights to be cleared with the amount of athletes we lost to graduation and leaving early.
On Fixon's last make at 14.7.5, the entire Georgia coaching staff just went bananas. She just didn't look like she had enough speed off the ground on that. She just kind of rolled into that takeoff, and in the vault, you really have to attack that. It's like a long jump takeoff. You actually leave the ground first, and the pole hits the back of the box and takes you up. But she just didn't carry enough speed, and in her position, they've been jumping for a while, so she might be a little bit tired. But when you don't have any speed off the ground, enough speed, it doesn't matter what you do on top of that pole. It's not going to be enough. But great day, huge personal best for Fixon at 14.7.5.
So with less than 6 laps remaining in this first section of the women's 3,000 meters. It doesn't look like 56 athletes out there. I'm sure there were a lot of scratches. I'm trying to see the number on the thigh there. It looks like Odette Vaughn of Arkansas. As we will go very quickly back to the women's pole vault. 1 vault remaining in the competition.
Bailey McCorkle, the sophomore, she had a personal best at 14.7.5 as well, and this is her last attempt. Wow, it looked like she had just a little, it's almost like she has to go to the next pole. She had really good takeoff off the ground, and on the ascent up, she had enough room. You gotta watch that left arm. As soon as you go, that left arm's gotta straighten back out before it goes back up. So she, on her way, had it, and then it just collapses a little bit. And if you don't have that nice hip action where you're taking that top right hand into that inner thigh, you're not gonna get enough height over that bar. But both of these women that we said, Fixon and McCorkle, personal best at 14.7.5.
So now we're going to start seeing lapped runners. Number 4, that is Olivia Janke of Tennessee, who is in the lead, coming up with 3 laps remaining. And hip number 5, that is Grace Jensen of Vanderbilt. And hip 8 is Ylvis Traxler of Ole Miss, with 2 laps remaining.
This is where it gets a little dicey for the leaders when you're lapping this many people, 56 athletes in this event. So now not only do you have to worry about where you're going to run or how you're going to run when you're leading, there's other people in front of you because you're about to lap them.
So coming around for the bell, it's going to be a competitive last lap. Even though Traxler has dropped off the pace ever so slightly, it's still very close between Olivia Janke and Grace Jensen. Tennessee versus Vanderbilt as they continue to lap runners. Janke running on the distance medley relay for Tennessee last night. And Vanderbilt's Jensen in position to make a move off this final turn if she has another gear. And that's exactly what she's doing. Grace Jensen times her sprint perfectly. It's always better to be the hunter. And she wins section 1 of this women's 3000, 9:37.99. And that is a season best for Jensen. The results are official. Grace Jensen of Vanderbilt with a 2-second personal best. The sophomore wins section 1. Olivia Janke of Tennessee second. Kennedy Thompson of Arkansas finishes third. And the meet record, and Whitney Orton of BYU with the fastest time amongst collegians this year.
Ooh, am I excited to call this race. I have been waiting all day for this 3000. This is going to be fire, and it is led by these two ladies. Katie Izzo is on your right. Karina Filchion, who won the mile earlier, is right next to her, and they are going to take this pace out. Also, next to them, barely you can see in the frame, is their other teammate, Chrissy Gear. These women have been workhorses for this Arkansas Razorback team, trying to get that team title, as well as Esther Gatahi from Alabama is in here. Maddie Reed from Arkansas is in here. Devin Clark from Arkansas is in here. And this race, Dwight, in the last year and a half, has become a premier race in track and field. I'll get into a little bit about what happened in Boston the other night, but the collegiate runners from this race have really gone on to the next level and have absolutely dazzled on the world stage.
Like the men, 6 Arkansas runners here in this 16-woman field, and a huge opportunity for them to score points and put themselves in a position to win the title right here. So we may be having a little bit of a technical delay here as they're getting ready to pull the athletes to the line.
You see Maddie Reed on the very right side of your screen start to stretch, and right now you see them all shaking their legs out, and having this little bit of a weight really plays into the type of warm-up that you need to have in a 3000, even on a 5000, and it's called a dynamic warm-up. What you want to do is you don't want to come out and do a static stretching warm-up where you just stretch cold muscles. Dynamic warm-up really starts your nervous system firing, and you get through continuous movement, you get to stay warmer longer versus static stretching where you just come out and stretch cold muscles. And so in a race like this, when you need to have your body warmer for a longer period of time and get ready to compete like that, this is a type of warm-up that is very advantageous for races like the 3000.
As I mentioned, 6 Arkansas athletes. The only school anywhere close is Alabama with 3 athletes in this second section of the 3,000 meters. The mile champion is in there, Karina Filchion. The anchor for the successful distance medley relay, Chrissy Gear, is in there. Maddie Reed, who scored for Arkansas in the mile, is also in this race.
In this first 1,000, as you see Melissa McGeaney take this out, you really want to establish where your tone is going to be. You want to establish in position, but you also need to stay relaxed. Athletes get a little antsy in this first 1,000, and you don't want to expend any more energy trying to get a position to where you can kind of set your tone and settle into the type of pace that you want to run.
So this race is nicely established with pace. Let's break away and show you what happened in the women's triple jump.
In the women's triple jump, Alani Sutton, the sophomore from Tennessee, waited till her 6th and final attempt. She was 6th at this meet last year, comes down the runway, really nice takeoff, and uses that speed over that step. Really good landing, leaps out to 43 feet 7 inches, and that would be good for third. Deborah Acquah, your long jump champion, the junior from Texas A&M. This was her 6th attempt as well. 44 feet 11 and a half inches, and that was good for second. Well, Jasmine Moore, the freshman from Georgia, who was second in the long jump, said, well, I'm going to see your long jump champion and raise you a triple jump champion. Her 6th and final attempt as well. Really good takeoff and lift. Nice landing. You see that splash come out? Her feet got out in front of her, 45 feet 1 inches. And that is first in the NCAA right now, and it was also first in this meet. Here's your panel of winners. Jasmine Moore from Georgia first, Deborah Acquah of Texas A&M second, and Alani Sutton of Tennessee third.
So we're back to the 3,000 meters, and with hip number 3, that is grad student Katie Izzo of Arkansas. She found something magical by being on the Arkansas women's distance team.
I mean, I've loved my entire 4.5 years here. It's been a dream come true pretty much for me. I mean, I even got the tattoo of the Razorback on my leg after getting
All right, so not Katie Izzo, and we will try to pull that up for you as soon as we possibly can. Back to the race, which is now bunched up a bit since we left a moment ago.
Kelsey Warren from Texas A&M, the senior, is now leading, takes over. And again, in that first 1,000, you just wanted to establish, and here's where I really want to talk about those specific split type of things. There's been a little bit of a trend away from, hey, you've got to run certain 400-meter splits. And instead of running specific splits, which can actually be counterproductive if you're just going off of your body feel, you don't want to hit a time and say, oh, I'm a second under, so I can't run any faster, or I have to run so much faster. I talked to Arkansas's head coach, Lance Harder, and he said, forget the specific splits. We want to focus on the competition, and the time will take care of itself. So now what you're seeing in the 3,000, especially at the NCAA level, as well as the national level, is even effort. If your body feels good, go with it. Because right now, this is where you have to start picking up this next part of this race to where you can gradually get a little faster so that you can make moves. But also, if a move is made on you, is it an important enough move to cover when somebody makes it? Or do you need to just make sure that you don't panic and you stay settled and patient and then make your move to cover it?
Well, Katie Izzo, who's now in the lead, just threw in a 65-second lap, and we've gotten the squirrels out of the machinery. So here is what she had to say to us the other day.
I think it's a combination of all different things. Like you said, it's obviously the great workouts that coach gives us, but it's probably just the closeness that we have amongst our girls team. We all live in the same neighborhood. We all work together all the time. We want the best for each other, and I think especially that we all just push each other to be the best that we all can be. I think that is just such an uplifting feeling, and we all have so much pride being an Arkansas Razorback, and I think that school spirit really helps us just dig a little deeper, and just all the resources too. Especially for me, I feel like I'm just so grateful for everything that's been given to me, and I want to give back and just make the Razorbacks proud and everything.
to stress the importance of what Katie just said about training with her teammates, it was a trend back in the 70s, Dwight, that people had training packs. And then in the late 80s, early 90s, people split off and trained with individual coaches. And now the training packs have come back together where there's a group of athletes training, and it is really advantageous. And it showed the other night in Boston in the 3000, where Carisha Schweitzer, formerly of Mizzou, that we called on this track, absolutely shattered Shalane Flanagan's American record. But she trains with the Bowerman athletes in Shelby Houlihan, and Shelby was in that race as well. So was Colleen Quigley, formerly of Florida State. They all trained together. All three of those women broke the American record, but Carissa happened to win that race. So the importance of training together with your teammates is vital in these longer distances.
And just notice that Maddie Reed has dropped out of the race. Now Arkansas down to 5 runners in this 3000. Reed is exhorting her teammates on as she now exits the infield. Katie Izu, we saw her break away and put a couple blistering laps in last night in the 3,000 meters, and she's done the same thing on the 5,000, I should say. She's doing the same thing here. Mercy Shalanga tried to go with her for about a lap and then just gave up.
A lot of the women in this have run the mile. They ran legs on the distance medley relay last night and also run those 5,000. So just the absolute effort and the volume of running of some of these athletes in this particular event is extremely impressive.
That's Joyce Camelli now of Auburn, who's gone into second place. Shalanga in third. Jessica Drop of Georgia currently fourth, but it's got to be at least a 35-meter lead for Katie Izzo, and looks like she has a lot of run left in her with 2 laps remaining.
This is where it becomes a little more mental for Katie Izzo, and you're going to know, hey, I can speed up. This is the body feeling that I was just mentioning on running even effort and not worrying about what the splits are when you're coming across the line. As you can see, her pace is actually picking up. She's putting her feet down a little bit quicker than that last lap, and it's a mental thing. I can run fast, and once you kind of get that in your body mid-race, everything else just starts to relax and take over, and you become faster.
Right now, Arkansas is sitting in first, fifth, and 7th. That was not enough points for them to clinch the women's title with 1 lap remaining for Katie Izzo, but there's quite a big gap back to second, third, and fourth as Jessica Drop now making a move into second. There's the chase group with Jessica Drop, Joyce Camelli, and Mercy Chalangat. And then there's another group about 35 or 40 meters back that includes the mile champion, Karina Phil-Yoon, and Devin Clark of Arkansas is also back there.
As well as Chrissy Gear in the very back, where she anchored that distance medley relay championship team for Arkansas last night. So a lot of points to be had for the Razorbacks.
So 9:09 for Katie Izu. Joyce Camelli is going to get second. Jessica Drop third. Mercy Chalanga will get fourth. It'll be Karina Phil-Yoon. And I have to tell you, it looks like Grace Jensen of Vanderbilt may score some points from section 1. She ran 9:37.99. Those lower finishers might be in that neighborhood. I'm taking a look. No, not going to happen. Taylor Werner of Arkansas also won the 3,000, 5,000 double last year, so Arkansas continuing that tradition. Izu wins easily. Joyce Camelli is second. Jessica Drop third.